The event that would become the International Microwave Symposium, or IMS, was first hosted by the Professional Group of Microwave Theory and Techniques, PGMTT, in 1957. This group was founded in 1952 as part of the Institute of Radio Engineers, IRE, due to a growing interest in the field of microwave research. Now in its 64th year, IMS and Microwave Week are the premier annual international meeting for technologists involved in all aspects of microwave theory and practice. With more than 9,000 participants and over 600 exhibiting companies, it is the world's largest gathering of radio frequency, RF, and microwave professionals. We asked some veteran show attendees what they think about this great event. Let's see what they have to tell us and learn about the collaboration IMS has been instrumental in creating for almost 70 years.
Even though it was many moons ago, it's still a fairly vivid impression. It was 1977, San Diego, and I was not quite 30 yet. So I was a fairly young engineer. And I walked, I don't know what I had been to some technical talks and small conferences in the Bay Area, 30, 40 people in a room in a lecture. I'm not sure what I really expected, but when I walked into IMS at San Diego, it was far beyond what I expected. The amount of energy, the amount of buzz going on, the variety of things that you could participate or see or get in. It was just, I was just, literally, I think I was overwhelmed at first. It was just so much stuff. It was also the first year of organized exhibits, and they had gotten such a strong response. There was exhibits out in the hallways, there was exhibits in walkways. I won't say it was chaotic, but it was just such a high energy event that it made a very vivid impression on me.
I attended IMS for the first time in 1996 in San Francisco, and I went as a student presenting a paper. That was our only way to attend the conference, if we actually had gotten a paper accepted. And so 3 of us were in a hotel room, 3 students, and we had an opportunity to go to the conference. And then afterwards, we ran around San Francisco and tried to go to every site possible. But it was a great meeting.
There's a lot of constants in it. Obviously, it keeps growing and new activities get added all the time. I think the biggest change that we've seen over time, and it's really been over a long, long time, is who attends. In 1983, it was quite a bit more U.S. centric. It was all male for the most part. And with time, we've seen a lot more people from all around the world join. A lot more women engineers joining as well. So I'd say kind of in general, the diversity of the participants has changed over time. One thing that's kind of interesting, it's been a constant and I think unique to just a few conferences like IMS is the industry participation. Lots of conferences have become more and more academic, and IMS continues to have a really strong participation from industry, and maybe the demographic change that we see, reflects what we see in industry as well.
The good thing about what IMS has done is they've worked real hard to encompass as large of a share of the RF microwave and millimeter wave community as possible, and I think they've done a really good job at expanding the opportunity for all to participate.
I think I have sort of two answers. So I'm an experimentalist, and I do research at really high frequencies. Now I measure passive circuits, but we use the network analyzers. And in the last few years, we've seen that at these really high frequencies, like 300 gigahertz and above, that either, first of all, the modules to take those measurements exist, but then also the platform to measure those circuits or devices accurately exists with the different companies, really taking their probe stations and making them in such a way that you can have precision. So that's one thing that, if I think about it, I've found to be just quite remarkable, that you can have a terahertz probe station. And then another one is the the simulation side of things. You know, every year, many of the companies that really do the electromagnetic simulation, they have new advances, and they are considering kind of all the problems that we experience. And so as a student, we were either experimentalists or theoreticians. So you couldn't necessarily be both, because your PhD would take you the time to get that work done. And so the fact that as an experimentalist, we can come up with some kind of experiment that we want to run, but then now we have access to these commercial tools that will allow us as best as possible to create that simulation that almost mimics what we actually build. And so I find that remarkable that every year they keep working on solving those particular problems that people run into.
Yeah, I think it was probably the automatic network analyzer. I mean, there've been kind of earlier versions of it, but when, HP, which is now Keysight, when they introduced the 8510, that was a huge change in the way that we operated, the accuracy and the convenience of making microwave measurement in the lab. That was a big deal. Yeah, and there's the obvious things that you get from IMS. You're going to learn all about the latest technology in all the papers. There'll be some engaging panel sessions where you'll learn more. You'll get to see what is available in terms of what industry is doing in the trade show and what services are available. But I think the important thing is the opportunity to meet your colleagues and to build your network. The first time you go is definitely a little bit of a challenge, especially for, not to stereotype engineers, but, we tend to be a little bit introverted. So it's a little challenging. You might only know one or two people. Second year, it's much, much better. By the time you get to the third or fourth year, you just know so many people there. And I look forward to attending IMS every year for the networking opportunities as much as anything else. It's kind of like a reunion week for me.
There's a lot of reasons, but maybe the largest and simplest reasons is the networking opportunities and the ability to meet luminaries in the field and shake their hand and potentially have the opportunity for a one-on-one dialogue and discussion later on. And then you have the opportunity to create your own, I won't say social network, but your own network of friends and opportunities. And the latter actually proved effective to me, where it's because of the AdCom. A friend of mine had a very high-level speaker coming into town as an expert in his field from a foreign country, and he was having difficulties getting meetings with this gentleman. Well, he finally asked me to help, and because I knew the right people, I was able to make a phone call or two, and the people on the other end knew the name, picked up the phone, and we had a dialogue, and we made it happen. And as a high point of this, I remember at one company, we were sitting there, And the meeting room was just full of people. And not only was it full of people, but there was still people in the hallway straining to hear the presentation from the hall and looking through the doorway like you would see in some of these cartoon characters type of thing. It was really interesting to see that. But you get that by being there, not by, social interaction through a keyboard.
There's a certain energy, a certain revitalization that I get by going to the event. In your normal job, you're working with much the same people day in and day out on a particular technology area issue. And maybe it's just me, but while I enjoy what I'm doing, it can sometimes get a little boring. I enjoy when we can make breakthroughs and get some excitement out of that. But in a week of MTT or IMS, you get just a lot of excitement going on that kind of re-energizes you.
You have this opportunity to see everything in one space. And so it's going to just sort of blow your mind, and it's going to probably free you as well, because when we work in this field, like I said, I think sometimes we just get so sort of focused into what we do, but going to these meetings allows you to see what people are doing, like literally on the other side of the world.